the West Norfolk MP James Wilde, who backed Rishi Sunak in both of the leadership contests since the summer. Good morning to you, Mr. Wilde. There has been a tricky period of time for your party. The decisions made by Liz Truss as Prime Minister have left people obviously less well off, high mortgages, cost of living going up due to inflation at the 10.1% mark. How much do you regret that, Mr. Wilde?
Well, good morning, Rob. I think there's a very big job for Rishi Sunak to do coming in as Prime Minister, and we need to have the stability and unity to help settle the market so that the impacts you've talked about in terms of higher inflation and higher borrowing costs settle down, and then we can get on with dealing with the big economic challenges, which are going to help my constituents because they are facing higher bills at the moment, and there's just got to be the economy is the biggest issue facing us.
Lots of people are saying it's a circus, it's a shambles. Lots of people are saying what's going on. There's one Prime Minister out the back door, one coming in the front door. The one thing it doesn't do is kind of soothe the people. The people are worried here. Do you share that worry?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the message I've had from my constituents, and we have had a turbulent time over the last, and it's only 7 weeks since Liz Truss became Prime Minister. And now we're going to have Rishi Sunak coming in. So that's why we need to have stability and a period of calm where we settle down and we take the decisions that need to be taken to sort out the economic challenges, to help people through with the higher costs of energy, particularly helping the most vulnerable. And we need to get back to good, common sense, stable government.
I mean, the polls are obviously not good reading for Tories. They're well down, and Labour have a large lead in terms of what people are saying in the polls. Can Conservative, the party, get the voters back, do you think, in time for a next general election?
Well, certainly the mood amongst my colleagues in Westminster is we need to come together as a party, and we need to focus on the issues that the British public are worried about, and that's our job. That's what we're here to do, to focus on the interests of the country, and what happens in terms of the next general election and poll ratings will follow from the decisions that we take and how people see us deal with the economic challenges. And I think in Rishi Sunak, we've got someone who's got a track record of steering the economy through the difficult times where we had COVID, where he put in place the furlough scheme, which saved 10,000 jobs in West Norfolk alone. He put in place the early energy package targeted at the most vulnerable. And he's got the values and the character, I think, to take us through what are going to be tough times. But there's no doubting that it's a daunting challenge. And that's why I think all MPs on the Conservative side will come behind him and give him the support that he'll need.
You did back Rishi Sunak in the first leadership campaign. I'm guessing you feel vindicated because, as we heard in a clip earlier, he predicted the flaws in Liz Truss's financial plans.
Well, I'm sad that it's not worked for Liz, for her and her family. She said herself that she made mistakes and went too far and too fast in her ambition, which was to drive growth in the economy, which is something we all want to see. Rishi put forward an alternative package, and he's now going to have the opportunity to put that in place. And obviously, that's what I supported previously. I'm pleased that he's now going to be our Prime Minister later today, and he can put forward the plans and the ideas that he has, building on the experience that he's got, particularly on the financial side, where he can bring that credibility to the markets to help settle the borrowing costs and other things that feed through to higher bills and higher mortgage payments.
So why, James Wilde, is Mr. Sunak the man for you? Why do you think he's the right person to lead the country?
Well, I think it's the combination of the experience he has, it's the values that he has on hard work, fairness, patriotism. He's a thoughtful, intelligent person, and he's got the character, I think, to make the big decisions and give confidence to people whilst focusing very much on the most vulnerable people in our society. He is a low-tax, high-growth Conservative, but those taxes will have to come cuts and will have to come in due course once the growth and the other issues in the economy have settled. So I think all round he's got the character that we need at this time to bring confidence and stability and to unite the party so that we can focus on the issues that my constituents want us to be dealing with.
And what do you want to see from him when he chooses his cabinet? Does it need to draw on all factions of the Conservatives? Yeah,
absolutely. It needs to have the best people from across the party in the key posts within the government. I think we've seen different approaches where that hasn't been the case recently, and I think we need to get back to that because I think it's having those different views and different mindsets around the table that makes sure you get the best decisions. And given the challenge that we face, we need all the experience that we have to support the Prime Minister, and it becomes a team game.
Opposition parties and lots of the public are calling for a general election. There's no reason for your party to agree to that, but isn't there a case that there are so many changes and cuts to spending that you're going to need a manifesto of 2019 to say it's no longer the mandate to lead, and therefore a general election is required.
Well, I understand why people are making those calls, and although it might not seem like it, is actually less than 3 years since the 2019 election where we won an 80-seat majority. And as Rishi said yesterday, we've got to deliver on that manifesto on public services, on tackling crime, protecting the environment, securing our borders. And there's still 2 years to run of this parliament. I think what we need at the moment is stability, and I don't think a general election brings stability. I think we need to focus on delivering on the manifesto with the majority that we have in Parliament and get back to that relentless focus on the things that people are worried about.
And it's fair to say the Conservative Party has been pulled apart in several directions over the past few months. We've got people, changing their mind, it seems, on tweeting that they're backing this person, then that person, and lots of people are saying, well, hang on, make your mind up, stick to it. I mean, to be fair to you, you did back Mr. Sunak from the start, so you can kind of pat yourself on the back for that. But can all this kind of, hooing and hawing, as we'd say in Norfolk, can it all be resolved?
I think so. I think we've had too much of that, really, and it's become too much drama, and we need to get back to being things are a little bit more stable and frankly a bit duller and a bit more boring, and just getting on with the job at hand, rather than having some of the soap opera that there has been in recent times. And I think what we've been through, we're now on. This will be the third Prime Minister I've had of any been in Parliament for 3 years. We need to have stability and get back to what the Conservative Party is about, which is stable government in the national interest.
And on the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, we could be about to have a fifth health secretary since the bid for funding a new QEH was launched. It's quite frustrating for the staff, patients, and of course the local community. They just want a decision. What do you say to them?
Yeah, well, I'm with them. I want a decision. It's very frustrating. The current health secretary was due to come to QEH on Friday. That visit got pulled for understandable reasons after the Prime Minister made her announcement. So as soon as there's a new health secretary in post, and it may be the current one, I'll be talking to them, inviting them to come to QEH, because there's now over 3,000 timber and steel supports in the hospital. I spoke in Parliament again to make the case for this. I've discussed this with Rishi Sunak before. We've got a Chancellor who was Health Secretary, and he also understands the need of these reinforced concrete hospitals to be replaced. So we've got the compelling case, and we need to have a decision on this. It's been dragging on for a long time. And I will have to keep making the case until we get that decision.
What's the timescale on this? Do we know?
Well, there was due to be decisions quite soon under Liz Truss, so I'll be urging the Prime Minister and the new Health Secretary to stick to making decisions as soon as possible, because, as you say, the staff and the patients need to have the certainty that there's going to be a new hospital coming to the Queen Elizabeth. Obviously, there are improvements happening at the moment, and there's measures being taken to make sure the hospital is safe, which is why there's so many supports going into the roof. But ultimately, we need that new hospital, not least for the building life, but also to manage the demand and growth in the area and to have a modern, fit for the future hospital.
And just finally, are you worried that public spending cuts could reduce the hospital building programme? And, this would be terrible, but the QEH could miss out.
Well, our manifesto committed to the new hospital programme. We need to stick to that. If you look at the period when the spending would fall for the QEH, there's quite a lot of process involved in getting to the point where building work starts. So the spending for that would fall in a number of years hence, rather than sort of be coming in the next couple of years. So I'll certainly be making the case that we need to protect the NHS capital budget and deliver on our manifesto commitment.
James Wild, North West Norfolk MP, thank you very much for joining us this morning.